The late afternoon sun poured through the kitchen window, casting golden streaks across the oak table where my daughter, Emily, sat. Her cheeks still glowed with the flush of her wedding 2 days ago, the cream silk dress she'd worn now replaced by faded jeans and a soft cardigan. At 24, she looked radiant, young, and so certain of her new life. Her dark hair was pulled into a loose ponytail, strands catching the light as she laughed softly at something her new husband, Nathaniel, said. He sat beside her, lounging with an ease that grated against my instincts. His arm rested possessively behind her chair, his smile too smooth, too polished, like a salesman closing a deal. Then, with a casual flick of his wrist, he slid a manila envelope across the table. It stopped inches from my coffee mug, the porcelain warm against my palms as I gripped it tightly. I didn't touch the envelope. I didn't even look at it. Just something to streamline things, Nathaniel said, his voice velvet but laced with a sharp undertone I couldn't ignore. Legal stuff, asset planning, for the future. You know how it is. His green eyes held mine for a moment, assessing, before he leaned back, exuding the confidence of a man who always got what he wanted. Emily nodded eagerly, her eyes bright with trust. It's just a formality, Mom. Nathaniel's amazing with finances. He's setting up a trust for when we have kids someday. It's smart, right? She reached for his hand, her engagement ring glinting, a diamond far too large for the modest life she'd always known. My stomach knotted. The envelope was thick, heavy with notarized papers, my name, Claire Collins, inked on it in precise block letters. I'd seen envelopes like this before, after my husband's death, when his brother tried to claim what wasn't his. What does this require of me? I asked, keeping my voice steady despite the pulse hammering in my throat. Nathaniel's smile didn't waver. Just your acknowledgement. Combining your estate with ours for efficiency. It'll save us all headaches down the line. He spoke as if it were nothing, as if handing your mother-in-law legal documents days after a wedding was as normal as passing the salt. Take a look when you have time. Emily beamed, oblivious to the unease curling in my chest. She looked at Nathaniel like he'd hung the moon, her trust in him absolute. They stood to leave, Nathaniel brushing crumbs from my table with a familiarity that felt like a violation. We're off for the honeymoon tomorrow, he added, his tone light. But this'll keep things clean when we're back. I didn't respond. I couldn't. The front door clicked shut, and the silence in the kitchen pressed against me like a weight. Alone, I reached for the envelope with trembling hands and tore it open. The words on the pages blurred. Terms of a family trust one hadn't agreed to, my assets to be rolled into an account managed by Nathaniel. My heart pounded. He didn't know about the $7 million I'd inherited after my husband, David, died 5 years ago. No one did, not even Emily. I'd kept it secret, tucked away in discreet accounts, to protect her from the greed I knew money could unleash. Nathaniel was reaching for something he couldn't see, but the audacity of his move told me everything. He was hunting. The next morning, a sharp knock startled me at 9 a.m. I'd barely taken a sip of my coffee when I opened the door to find a man in a crisp charcoal suit, too polished for his age. Late 20s, maybe. His black leather briefcase gleamed, and his smile was polite but empty, like a mask. "Mrs. Collins?" he asked, extending a hand I didn't take. "I'm Carter Doyle, representing Nathaniel and Emily Hastings regarding a financial arrangement." The name Emily Hastings hit like a stone to the chest. She hadn't told me she'd changed her name. Had she done it legally already, or was this Nathaniel's assumption? Either way, the casual confidence in his voice made my grip tighten on the doorframe. "Her name is Emily Collins," I said flatly. His smile flickered, a crack in the facade. "My mistake. May I come in?" Every instinct screamed to slam the door, but curiosity, and a sharper need to know how deep this went, made me step aside. He strode into my dining room like he owned it, setting his briefcase on the table where Emily used to do her algebra homework, where I'd braided her hair before prom. Now, this stranger spread glossy legal folders across it like a poker dealer. "This contract," he said, clicking open a sleek pen, "is a precautionary measure. Nathaniel and Emily want to align family assets for their future. Emily signed it yesterday before they left for their honeymoon. Nathaniel requests your signature by week's end." I didn't sit. I crossed my arms, watching him like a hawk. "Show me the section about the money." His hand hesitated for a split second before he turned the contract and pointed to Section 7.2, Parental Estate Disclosures and Pre-Inheritance Trust Structures. In plain terms, they wanted me to declare every major asset I owned, as if I'd already agreed to hand them over. Emily's signature was there, slanted and rushed, like she hadn't even read it. My chest tightened. "I'll review it with my lawyer," I said coldly. His polite mask slipped for a moment, a flash of irritation in his eyes. Then he nodded, gathered his papers, and left without another word. As the door shut, I exhaled, the air thick with the realization that this was no simple misunderstanding. Nathaniel was playing a long game, and Emily was caught in the middle. That afternoon, I called Daniel Hayes, my attorney since David's death. His calm, steady voice was a lifeline. "Something's off," I told him. "Emily just got married, and now there's a lawyer at my door pushing for asset disclosures. They're circling like vultures." Daniel was quiet for a moment. "Do you want me to review the contract?" "No," I said firmly. "I want a decoy. A financial summary that says I inherited $260,000, mostly eaten up by debts. Tax filings, a small account, make it airtight, something Nathaniel can find and believe." He exhaled, catching on. "You're baiting him. Like your brother-in-law after the funeral." "Exactly," I said, my voice low. "He tried to steal the estate with forged documents. I learned then, people will take what's not theirs if you let them. I won't let Nathaniel do that to Emily." By the end of the week, Daniel delivered a masterpiece, a false inheritance disclosure, complete with tax filings and a modest account, all perfectly mundane. I placed the folder on my desk, pages fanned open, as if I'd left it out carelessly. Then I waited. 2 days later, the bank called. A flagged attempt to access an old joint account with a $5,000 balance. Nothing worth touching unless you were probing for more. The login used my maiden name, a detail only David and Emily knew. My heart sank. Emily had shared it, knowingly or not, and Nathaniel was digging. I invited them to lunch at Emily's favorite garden cafe, a serene spot with koi ponds and rose bushes. Nathaniel arrived in a powder blue suit, eyeing the place like he was calculating its value. Emily, still glowing from her honeymoon, chatted about the beach as we sat under a shaded arbor. I steadied my nerves and slid the decoy disclosure across the table. "Here's my inheritance summary. $260,000 after debts and legal fees. Not much, but enough for a quiet retirement." Emily frowned, confused. "I thought Dad left more than that." I met her gaze, my voice soft but firm. "Your father had debts I never told you about. I sold the lake house to cover them. I didn't want to worry you." Nathaniel's eyes flickered, his smile tightening for a fraction of a second. He'd been expecting millions, not this modest sum. He recovered quickly, sipping his iced tea. "Well, even small amounts can grow with proper management," he said, his tone too smooth. Lunch dragged on with forced small talk. Emily shared honeymoon stories. Nathaniel spun tales of a private yacht they'd been offered. I nodded, smiled, and watched the gears turn in his head. That night, the bank called again. Another login attempt, this time through Emily's tablet. He wasn't slowing down. The next afternoon, Emily stormed into my house, her car door slamming in the driveway. Her eyes blazed with anger. "Why did you threaten Nathaniel?" she demanded, her voice trembling. "He said you cornered him, accused him of stealing." I steadied myself against the counter. "I didn't threaten him, Emily. I told him I'd review the contract with my lawyer. But he's been trying to access my accounts, using your tablet." Her face froze, lips parting. "What?" "I left a fake document on my desk to test him," I admitted. "He took the bait. He's been searching for money that isn't there." She recoiled, tears welling. "You set him up? You're spying on us." Her voice cracked, and before I could explain, she grabbed her purse and bolted for the door, leaving only the echo of her footsteps. Daniel called the next morning, his voice sharp. "The bank traces confirm it's Nathaniel. Device ID, IP address, all from Emily's tablet at their hotel." I clenched my jaw. "Check the wedding footage. Men like him always slip. He's too arrogant to stay quiet." I spent hours combing through videos, professional footage, shaky iPhone clips, Instagram reels from guests. My eyes burned, but I couldn't stop. Then I found it, a grainy clip from one of Nathaniel's friends at the reception. Nathaniel, tie loose, drink in hand, smirked at a buddy's teasing. "Married rich? Not yet. Give me a month. You'll see." The group erupted in laughter, Nathaniel's grin wide and smug. My heart pounded. I sent the clip to Daniel. "This is gold," he said within minutes. "With the bank logs, IP traces, and this video, he's done." But Emily wouldn't believe me without seeing it herself. I copied the video to a USB, tucked it into an envelope, and drove to the sleek condo where she and Nathaniel lived. I slipped it into their mailbox and drove home, my hands tight on the wheel. 2 days later, Emily appeared at my door, pale, eyes swollen from crying. She didn't knock, just walked in and sat at the kitchen table, clutching her phone. "I saw the video," she whispered. "He bragged about marrying rich." I checked his browser history, searches about bypassing account authentication, draining trusts, annuities. Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I'm so sorry, Mom." I reached across the table, holding her shaking hand. "You trusted love, Emily. That's not a crime." Her phone buzzed, shattering the moment. Nathaniel's message lit up the screen. Threats of lawsuits, claims she'd used his money for the wedding, screenshots of joint accounts tied to her name. He'd been building a trap all along. I took the phone gently and read the venom in his words. My chest burned. "We end this now," I said. Daniel arranged a meeting the next afternoon in a downtown law office, all glass walls and cameras for transparency. Emily sat beside me, her hands trembling but her eyes sharp with resolve. Daniel waited in the corner, a silent sentinel. Nathaniel arrived 10 minutes late, arrogance dripping from his black turtleneck and designer sunglasses. He smirked as he Saturday. "Claire, Emily, I hear there's some confusion. Glad we can talk it out." Daniel slid a thick folder across the table. Bank logs, IP traces, timestamps of Nathaniel's login attempts. Then he tapped a USB drive. "Your voice at the wedding. Married rich? Not yet. Give me a month." Nathaniel's face drained of color. He turned to Emily, but she didn't flinch, her gaze cold. "Sign the annulment," I said evenly. "Release Emily from every account, every property, every claim. Quietly. Today." He laughed, a bitter edge to it. "Or what?" Daniel placed another folder beside the first. "Or this goes public. The logs, the video, the story of a man who married for money. Reporters are waiting." Nathaniel's jaw tightened, his eyes darting between us. He was cornered. Finally, he snatched the pen, scrawled his signature on every page of the annulment, and shoved the folder back. Without a word, he shoved his sunglasses on and stormed out. The door's click echoed in the silence. Emily broke down, sobbing into her hands. I wrapped my arms around her, holding her as I had when she was a child. "It's over," I whispered. "You're safe now." That night, Emily came home with me. The drive was quiet, city lights flickering past as she stared out the window, processing the collapse of her marriage. At the house, she dropped her purse by the door and sank into a chair at the kitchen table. I brewed chamomile tea with honey, the way she liked it as a girl, and set the mug before her. She stared at it, her voice barely audible. "Mom, I don't know who I am anymore. How did I not see it?" I sat across from her. "You loved him. You trusted. That doesn't make you blind, Emily. It makes you human." Tears brimmed in her eyes. She reached for my hand. "I doubted you. You were fighting for me, and I pushed you away." I squeezed her hand gently. "No more apologies. We move forward now." A fragile silence settled over us, the kind that heals. Then she lifted her gaze. "Is it true about the $7 million? I hesitated, then nodded. "Yes. Your father left me $7 million. I didn't tell anyone, not even you, because I've seen what money does. It builds, but it also destroys. I wanted to protect you from that shadow until you were ready." Her mouth fell open slightly. "$7 million," she whispered, the number sinking in. Then she straightened, her voice steady. "No more secrets, Mom. From now on, we face things together." I smiled, my heart lighter. Together. The next evening, we cooked dinner. Pasta with marinara, garlic bread, a salad drowning in dressing. Emily laughed when I spilled sauce on the counter, a sound I hadn't heard in weeks. We ate at the kitchen table, the same one where Nathaniel's envelope had landed, but now it felt like ours again, reclaimed. Later, we stood at the window, the moon rising over the quiet street. Emily leaned her head on my shoulder. "Thank you for not giving up on me," she whispered. I wrapped my arm around her. "Always." In that moment, I knew the true inheritance I wanted to leave her wasn't the $7 million. It was the strength to see through deception, the courage to walk away from false promises, and the wisdom to choose love that doesn't come with contracts. Real love is patient, protective, and true. And as we stood there, the weight of the past weeks lifted, replaced by a quiet certainty. We'd face whatever came next, together.